Welcome everyone to the Midwest and more closely to the Gateway to the West, as we are in Madison, Illinois here tonight at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, originally known as Gateway. And this thing is a very unique track, designed somewhat like Darlington, just about the same size. This one only 1.25 miles, but a lot less banking, as turns 1 and 2 only 11 degrees of banking, turns 3 and 4 9 degrees of banking. But 3 and 4 is your wider corner, but you will see shifting, and quite a bit of it here, as typically going into turns 1 and 2 is a tight enough corner that no matter what kind of vehicles you're in, you're going to be grabbing a gear. But it seems like tonight turn 3 and 4 is going to be grabbing a gear as well to get the maximum amount of rotation and power down. And getting the power down is not going to be easy. These cars a bit slick, at least in the little bit of time that I had out there watching these guys out here in practice. Got to be very careful on the throttle coming off these corners. Carl Hanwork joined in the booth tonight by David Tilford, as Jimmy is off in Disney right now and enjoying the time with the family. But David, I mean, probably a good race for you to hop in here, as this thing kind of drives like a road course at times.
Yeah, I'm definitely more familiar with the road side of things, but this is almost my home track. I mean, I'm only a couple hours up the road. I'm about halfway between this and Joliet, so looking forward to seeing some good racing out here tonight.
Track built back in 1967 as a drag racing facility before it was taken over in 1994. The road course layout and drag racing layout were demolished, and the oval was built here. And again, it was originally at that time known as Gateway, but now it is Worldwide Technology Raceway, and it's a unique track here. And I mean, like I said, it's kind of a road course-ish type of track here, as you're gonna be doing a lot of shifting. It's not your typical oval, and even though, like we said, it's shaped like Darlington, certainly does not race like that and does not have the banking of it. So it doesn't take it almost, if anything, drives more like a short track, and you may see some of your short track specialists kind of work their way towards the top of the boards. But it's been a very good, fun, interesting season so far, and we've had a couple of the typical names at the top of the boards for a majority of the season, that being Derek Paulson at the top of the boards by 22 points over teammate Dalton Kilrow. But Joshua Diver's only another 21 points back, Gordon Larson another 4 points back, and then another 2 points back to Len McNeese in the top 5. So only 49 points covering the top 5 cars here as we head into race number 13. Great race last week at Charlotte. As I'm losing it here now, had Andrew Palesci finally crack through and get that win. And I know Jimmy was maybe not necessarily pulling for him in that race, but was kind of expecting it after the week before, almost getting it done. But we got some new faces out here tonight. We got some new names at the top of the boards. Palesci right there, second place right now in the qualifying, so maybe going for a little back-to-back action here. We'll see how it works out, but we are just about done with qualifying. Looks like they are done with qualifying right now, so we'll go ahead and head it over to the track and get a rundown of our qualifying results. And it is going to be Maxwell Caldwell at the top of the boards, 33.585, a quarter hundredth of a second off is Andrew Palesci in second. Justin Lewis, Mike Hasty, Ty Marasco, your top 5. They got Joshua Divers, Eric Blunt, Todd Merkel, DJ Mitzel, Gordon Larson Jr., your top 10. Brian Dees, Brandon Meir, John Garrett, Tim Lee, and Len McNeese, your top 15. Chris Moreland, Emmy Garardini, Tyler Hilton, Mike Taylor, and Cade Green, your top 20. And you got Mike Rideout, Robert Smith, Hilton Young, Dalton Kilrow, Ray Courtney, Michael Pratt, Chris Schuessler, Tim Williams, Doug Johnson, and Michael Eden, rounding out a nice 30-car field here tonight for the drivers here at the Virtual Velocity Racing 2024 Cup Car Series. And 150 laps here on tap. And David, I know, like you said, you're more of a maybe a road course guy, but tonight here at the very difficult track here of Worldwide Technology, this thing is going to be very difficult for these drivers in regards to saving some tires out here tonight.
Yeah, if they're used to, you know, the big banking and all of that, and sending it into the corner, you know, they're going to have another thing coming as far as a little bit more of a flat track feel. Definitely want to get that car woed up and get down to the bottom, most likely, to make their way around these corners, and definitely more of a road course feel. I tend to enjoy these a little bit flatter ovals myself. Interested to see how these guys play it out tonight. You know, if they've been used to the normal oval series stuff, then this is definitely something different. So maybe some new names at the top. All these names are new for me, but looking forward to seeing some good racing out here.
Absolutely. Taking a look real quick at the results so far as oh, never mind, it just disappeared from my screen. So let's try and bring that up one more time. As so far this season, we've seen. Lost again. There we go. We've seen 3 wins by Derek Paulson, 3 wins by Dalton Kilroe, 1 by Brian Dees, 2 by Joseph Verhalva, and 1 by Michael Pratt, and also 1 by Robert Kahn, who I haven't seen out here in a little bit. So a lot of variety here through the first 12 races, but lucky number 13 here tonight, and these boys are ready to get racing here tonight at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. The pace car lights are off. Pulling off into pit lane, it is going to be in the hands of Barney. 150 laps here on tap for VVR and all the racers, all the 30 cars out here tonight. Barney's waving that flag. We are racing here at Gateway.
Looks like a clean start so far. Looking back here through the field, and they are keeping it just too wide. No one's sending it too far in just yet. Maybe a little bit of a break between the front half and the back half of the field as they go down the backstretch.
Real good start for the field, and you got to feel like these guys really going to take their time and kind of feel out the cars for these first couple laps, and maybe tippy toe a little bit, because cold tires are not fun. And there we go. We already have a little bit of an incident back towards the back of the pack, and trying to see who that is. It looks like it might have been Ray Courtney at the back of the field, getting a little loose coming off of turn number 4, and that's how quickly it can happen. But battle up here for the lead. Inside is Justin Lewis, outside Maxwell Caldwell. Looks like Caldwell gonna give up the position, at least heading into the corner, but fighting back a little bit here on the middle line. But Justin Lewis gonna move to the point here off of turn number 4.
Yeah, I saw a few guys there in turn 3 just trying to dive in on the bottom, trying to get down below their competitors, and that didn't quite work out too well. Luckily, no cautions or anything, but they definitely sent it on some guys, and they were not expecting it. So interesting to see how far they can get down there on that lower curb.
Yeah, tracks like this are ones that are very, very big when it comes to practice and comfortability. I mean, it's hard enough trying to wrangle these cars on some of these tracks, especially the flat tracks. But here tonight, as when you're involving shifting and everything that goes on with just turning a lap here, the more and more comfortable you can be with the car, the harder you can send it in. And you're definitely going to have a leg up on the field, as some of these drivers are definitely going to be out here, you know, tippy-toeing around the first couple laps just to get those tires up to temperature. But if you know how to handle it on those cold tires right away, you can certainly gain and pick off a few positions.
Yeah, and you mentioned shifting. I saw a shift from 3rd all the way through 5th there on the backstretch from one of the in-cockpit views. So 4th and 5th mainly, it looks like, but even down to 3rd potentially here through 1. Coming into the backstretch. Looks
like a little bit of an incident here for Tim Lee. May have had the same thing off of turn number 4. Going to keep it straight and keep it green here tonight, but certainly a little bit of a moment as the 24 jumps back through the field. But up front, it is Justin Lewis, Maxwell Caldwell, Andrew Paleschi, Ty Marasco, and Mike Casey, your top 5 here tonight. Big moves already, though, from the 41 of Dalton Kilroe, as he is taking advantage of maybe the practice or those cold tires, whatever it is. He is comfortable already, up 10 spots. Qualified way back there in 24th, but he is up 10 spots right now, up to 14th, and Not surprised here. He has been one of the classes of the field here week in and week out, and no surprise that he's second place in the points, but he's got it to himself here tonight as the man on the top of the standings not out here tonight, as his teammates Derek Paulson not in the field, so he's got a chance to maybe reel in the points lead, maybe even take over the points lead with a good finish here tonight. But looks like we have 27 cars that are in the field, as Douglas Johnson, Tim Williams, and Michael Eden not taking the green flag, at least not to this point, as we are on lap number 7 of 150.
Yeah, your leader's just taking it nice and easy there, running the bottom line along with the rest of this front pack. And he has gapped out to about a half a second lead here, coming down over the start-finish line to start lap 6. Or lap 8, I'm sorry.
So plenty of time. We will definitely see quite a few pit stops here tonight, and I think these guys will probably want even more pit stops to get tires. But as typical here for the series, only 3 sets of tires allotted to the cars, and they will have one fast repair tonight. I know it's been going back and forth. Some races they had one fast repair, some none. Tonight they do have one. So I'm sure for guys like Ray Courtney having that little bit of issue in the beginning, and for Tim Lee, didn't see if he caught the wall or not. Don't want to use that fast repair up too early, but you don't want to fall off pace that quickly here tonight, as the 7 of Justin Lewis out front by about 0.4 of a second, just slowly but surely creeping away here. And we'll go ahead and hop on board and just show you what these drivers are dealing with for a lap here and how much they are shifting. Very difficult to get any kind of grip all the way down there in the bottom. It's almost a little bit of progressive banking in turns 1 and 2, and you see the seam that the 07 was running on. That's kind of as low as you want to go there. You get down a little bit lower than that, it gets a little flatter, not completely flat, but there's less banking all the way to the bottom. That's why you see him kind of hugging that seam. But 3 and 4 all the way down to the apron, and in both corners grabbing 4th gear, or grabbing 3rd gear before shifting back up into 4th. But as David said, I mean, some of these guys going up to 5th, and you see the 07 here kind of maxing out towards the end of the straightaways on the RPMs, and I mean, it's fine doing that. And if you don't want to grab that extra gear, it can certainly upset the car trying to drop down 2 gears going into these corners. But you got to wonder if doing that over the longevity of the race, if that's going to do anything to the engine.
Yeah, if they max out that rev limiter coming down the straights, you got to start to be a little bit worried about engine temps, especially if you're in a line and your radiator's not getting that cool air. Out front, the 07 probably not too worried about that right now. The only thing he might be worried about is just taking too much to that downshift too early and upsetting the balance of that car coming in the corner.
So the only comparable tracks that we can take a look back and kind of get an idea driver-wise of who should be good is maybe you can look at Phoenix back earlier in the year, race number 6, where we're seeing Joseph Grijalva take the win there, as he is also not in attendance here tonight. But then the other one, the Milwaukee Mile, probably the next closest one to this track in regards to a bit of a flatter track. And Milwaukee Mile probably like 3 and 4. If you took 3 and 4 and matched it up with 1 and 2. You'd kind of get an idea of the Milwaukee Mile and how that one drives. And we've seen Dalton Kilroe have a good race there and taking the win at that 150 lap race. But already on lap number 15 here tonight at well, actually it looks like 14, maybe it just clicked over early at Worldwide Technology, and Justin Lewis starting to stretch out that lead a little more, about 3/4 of a second lead now over Maxwell Caldwell. Andrew Palesci in 2nd, Ty Marasco Andrew Palesci in 3rd, Ty Marasco in 4th, Mike Hasty, and then you got Joshua Divers, Gordon Larson, Ryan Dees, Todd Merkel, and Brandon Meir rounding out your top 10, as Dalton Kilroe now up to 11th place, up 13 spots.
So Carl, maybe for some of our viewers that might be used to watching the core series where we run the B cars, the Xfinity cars, what are some of the things that are different, with these next gens versus the Xfinities? I know it's a huge leap between the two. Just a lot more modern car, but can you talk a little bit about what some of those differences are and what you might notice as far as the racing out on track?
Yeah, for me, the B car, the Xfinity car, is a little bit tighter of a car. So you get out there, and typically you're going to experience a lot more understeer when you go into the corners, which for some that makes the car handle a lot better. You're not too worried about the back end stepping out on you. A little bit different here with the Cup cars, as they have an extra gear. They have 5 gears here instead of 4. And that extra gear kind of allows all those other gears to be spread out a little bit more, which gives you a little bit higher RPMs. It gives you more of a chance to kind of overcook the tires if you're not used to it. And you have to be a little gentle on the throttle. With the Xfinity cars, you can get on them a little bit harder. You still can't, just jump on the throttle. Coming off the corners, you still have to ease onto it. But with the Cup cars, you have to be a lot more gentle. You have to be really conscious of any kind of wheel spin and keeping that car under control. A little bit tougher of a car to save as well. Once you start getting out of shape, it's if you don't catch it right away, if you're not ready for it, it can send you for a loop. And we've seen a couple guys get a little loose off of turn 4 and not able to save it until they get all the way down to that 5 energy sign on the front stretch on the inside. So it's a little bit more edgy of a car, a little bit more speed, top end and kind of on the throttle coming off these corners as well.
One spinning going in down on the apron now, and he's recovered. That is Mike Hasty.
We'll take a look back and see what happened here to our 5th place runner at the time. And you see, you get down, and it's that little black strip right there is almost like a secondary apron. And you get those tires down below that, you almost need to get the entire car down there. You can use it sometimes, depending on how you've been running your car, to help rotate it through that corner. But if you catch it wrong, it's just like I said, driving with 2 tires on the apron, it's going to upset that car a little bit, and that's exactly what happened. But all in all, a really good save there for Mike Hasty, only losing 5 spots there, dropping back to 10th, and did not really get the car too sideways, able to save it right away.
We'll say some great names in this league. We got Divers, we got Hasty, and we got Rideout.
Absolutely. And then Jimmy's favorite, the Magic Man, Gherardini back there.
There you go. Let's see if he can do any escape artistry from the 19th place on the track right now and make his way forward.
Running a little different paint scheme here tonight is the 71 of Gherardini, with the super clean Castrol and a good looking paint scheme out there, as opposed to the Say My Name Jimmy paint scheme that he typically runs. But I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. So many just beautiful paint schemes on some of these cars, as we'll take a run through the field and just show you everything that these guys are running. And some guys run the same ones over and over every week. Some guys switch it up. Some guys have are on a team that they have a specific painter that does all their cars for them. Some just go on to trading paints and grab the one that they think is cool for that night or whatever it is. But either way, gotta give a shout out to all the iRacing painters out there. I mean, it's got to be a labor of love for some of these. I mean, there's some really cool different paint schemes, and like I said, some of these guys switch it up every single week. So it's more than just a racing hobby for some of these guys. It's a hobby to paint these cars as well.
And definitely in some beautiful cars, like you said. I'm just looking back through the field, a lot of great color schemes. I see one of my favorites, of course, the kind of the day glow yellow and the green. We got the 00 back here with Gordon Larson. Some of the other paints as I'm going through, some really clean paints, and Just really appreciate that about Oval Series too. These guys really take pride in some of the artwork, and some of them repping military affiliations or anything like that, and you'd love to see that.
I want to send a shout out to our sponsors here in the series, that being Gold Line Guardians, Fort Worth Screen Printing, and Hilton Crafts and Designs for all their help here in the series, as we are already on lap number 24. The lead kind of just stabilizing right now at 0.8 of a second for Justin Lewis over Maxwell Caldwell, but should be coming up around the next 5 to 10 laps. Maybe see some pit stops here, and looks like Kate Green already the first one in the pits. Not sure if there was any kind of issues here in the 19 or not, but it looks like he is going to be the first taker into pit lane here on lap number 24, crossing over into 25. So I would expect it to see some pit stops around the 30 lap mark, depending on how they want to kind of stretch out these different pit cycles. And we've seen pit cycles really take effect these last couple weeks, especially last week with Pelechi getting the win there at Charlotte, and it being the perfect strategy to be on at the end of that race. But it's a chess match, David, and I know probably, I mean, you could certainly have it in the road series as well, but I think you know as well as anybody here, when it comes to these oval races, especially ones that stretch out to green flag racing for quite a while, or maybe even the entire races, these guys do a great job here at VVR. It's really a chess match, and it's trying to figure out how you can get your car to the finish line the fastest, but also what your opponent's doing. You have to always be conscious of who's behind me, who's in front of me. Are they taking 2? Are they taking no tires? It's a lot of thinking behind the wheel out here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you have to think about the track too. I mean, is it easy to pass, or is track position going to be, king, as they say? Sometimes, like a Darlington or something like that, you want to be out in front earlier. You want to pit before your opponent and get on track and get those hot laps in. Maybe use a little more tire and know that he's going to have a fresher tire, but he's going to have a hard time making it by you. So you have to think about how difficult it is to make the pass on track as well.
Yeah, we said more often than not, passing on pit lane is 10 times easier, and nailing that pit entry and pit exit and having the right strategy while you're in there as well will gain you so much time on the field. And you look right now between Justin Lewis and Maxwell Caldwell, 0.84 seconds is the gap. That is big on the track. I mean, you see 5, 6, 7 car lengths in between first and second right now. 0.8 seconds is huge on the track. In the pits, 1 second can disappear extremely quickly. And whether it's just a little bit slower on the entry or exit, or maybe taking an extra gallon of fuel when your opponents do not, 1 second can go by very quickly in pit lane. And right now, that's the difference between first and second.
You're absolutely right. I mean, some of these guys might have someone spotting for them. Some of them might have a virtual crew chief working out the fuel strategy or the fuel amount that they need, especially on that last pit stop of the night. But regardless of who or what is taking care of that, they need to be keeping an eye on it, thinking about the strategy. I'm not sure when regular pit stops are going to be happening, Carl, but we've only had a couple takers so far, and at least one of them had an incident before he went in. So it looks like Cade Green is going to be a couple laps down after his pit stop, along with DJ Mitzel, who also pitted early.
Pass there for Mike Hasty, moving himself back up into the top 10 after the early incident there in turns 1 and 2. He was one of the faster guys in practice, and obviously in qualifying as well, qualifying up there in 4th place on the 2nd row. But we talked about it multiple times. Dalton Kilrow up 16 positions right now, but maybe starting to feel a little bit on these tires as he's kind of settled out right now in 8th place. Looks like and a couple issues here that no cautions for at all, but Len McNeese having a bit of a moment here on the backstretch. I guess good that the wall wasn't just there, but certainly doing some major damage right there, and it took him a while to get back on track. And surprisingly, we did not have a yellow for that one, as I believe that was Tim Lee. I mean, that was Tim Lee.
Oh my goodness!
And we're right on board with him, and take a peek at at the 84 just off there to the side, and not sure who that was in front of Tim Lee, but getting hard. Oh, that was the 4 there of DJ Mitzel, and that's exactly what happened there. And again, the yellow not coming out here, but hard impact there for the 24 as DJ Mitzel gets involved in that one as well. Slides back up on the track, but doesn't look like anybody else got involved. Mitzel ended up jumping in the pits. He was already a couple laps down, but big incident there for the 24 and the 4 trying to get around the 84 that was stopped on the backstretch. And that was certainly shaking the water here a little bit.
That's really unfortunate for Mitzel there, as he was just avoiding, you know, the crashed car of McNeese offline there. That weird little jut out that you don't normally see, you know, runoff area on the outside of an oval track, but McNeese found it, and that avoided the yellow flag. And as he went to rejoin, Mitzel had to avoid him, and it got a little loose and unfortunately into the wall.
Let's take a look at it one more time here from the view of DJ Mitzel, and you see he's just trying to follow and get the draft, and all of a sudden he sees the 84 backing up onto the track, takes evasive maneuvers, and like I said, once you get these cars just a little bit loose, it's not easy to save, and hard impact there into the wall, and tried to keep it up there, but unfortunately slid back across and collected at the 24 of Tim Lee in the process. But we will stay green here. We are on lap 35 of 150, and I'm a little surprised. I'm surprised that we did not have pit stops yet. I thought they'd be around the lap 30 mark, but maybe these guys can stretch it out a little further than I expected here. And I guess maybe my calculations were wrong, or I didn't have the correct amount of fuel in the car when I was out there testing. But still, not really any kind of takers here into the pits other than the ones that got involved with some early incidents. And we've got 21 cars left on the lead lap. Chris Schusler, the first one lap down. Then he got Hilton Young, Len McNeese, Cade Green, all 2 laps down. And then Tim Lee, 3 laps down in 26th after going in and getting his repairs done. DJ Mitzel still in the pits, repairing that car one more time as he is 7 laps down in 27th. But we do have Chris Moreland now in pit lane. So maybe this will be the start of pit stops here, as looks like we got DJ Mitzel was rolling there for a little bit, but now he's going to back it up in there. Maybe not fully repaired, but definitely pit cycle is starting, as now Brandon Meir, Todd Merkel, and John Garrett all joining Chris Moreland in pit lane here. So just a matter of time till we start seeing the rest. And here comes the 07, as these drivers have to take the service road all the way in from turn number 3. There's no, easy way to cut in there on turn number 4. It's you have to take the service road all the way around. So almost kind of telegraphing it early for everybody else. But in is Justin Lewis, Maxwell Caldwell, Andrew Pileshi, your top 3 in the pits. That's going to hand over the lead right now to Ty Marasco. Joshua Divers right behind him, and Brian Dees right behind as well, as we got a nice little train right here coming down the backstretch. I would assume we'll start seeing some of these guys dive off as well, but Marasco going to go around for another lap. Looks like Joshua Divers is going to head into the pits, as is, it looks like not Mike Hasty, but Gordon Larson in pit lane, and the 17 of Brian Dees in pit lane as well.
Yeah, and with that kind of weird little service road that they have to take, there's a little bit more time loss as well relative to the lap time around this track too. So they will lose, about a lap, almost 2 laps in the pits. So if you can save enough fuel for that to avoid a pit stop.
Don't want to do. Good save there by Ty Marasco. But yeah, as you say, I mean, there's a lot more time that is lost, but there's also a chance to gain a lot of time as well. I mean, you see right there, right behind him, Dawson Kilrow, his teammate, gaining a ton of time there on Ty Marasco. Just by that little bit of an issue getting off into the grass. Great job at saving it. Good thing those stairs right there are virtual, because look like looked like Marasco would have clipped them had they not been. But just a few cars left out there that have yet to come down pit road. Mike Hasty now going to take that left-hand turn and come into the pits. Mike Rideout is coming through turns 1 and 2 right now. He is yet to come into the pits, as has Mike Taylor. It looks like Rideout is now going to make that left-hand turn and head into the pits. That's going to leave only Mike Taylor out there yet to come into pit lane with the 98 target machine. We'll see if he stays out one more lap, and it looks like he's going to. And going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out here throughout the course of the race. As you know, pitting around lap 40, everybody's going to have to come in 3 times.
Yep, 3-stop race. I was just doing some calculation here, and these guys are right on that pace, or that frequency that they need to get to a 3-stop. And apparently, if your name is Mike, you need to do an extra lap from everyone else.
Of course, exactly. Mike Casey stays out now. Mike Taylor stays out, but looks like he is going to stay to the inside and bring that 98 down into pit lane this time by. But the other thing that is very, very important here is most of the drivers only taking fuel. Again, these drivers only have 2 sets of tires in the pits, 3 total sets on the cars. So even though it's a 3-stop race and they ran a good 40 laps here on this first stint, not taking tires on that first one. Only a couple of drivers. Looks like Mike Hasty maybe taking 2 tires. Looks like Brandon Muir taking a full set of tires, but for the most part, the drivers electing for fuel only. And again, we've seen different strategies work out at different times. I mean, it all depends on how the entire race plays out and when those tires are at the utmost importance. But the way this is shaking out right now after the pit cycle, 2.5 second lead for Justin Lewis at the front over Maxwell Caldwell, Andrew Pileshi, Ty Marasco, Dalton Kilroe, your top 5. Then you got Divers, Dees, Hasty, Merkel, and Larson in your top 10.
Yeah, and you mentioned, these guys not taking tires, and that makes sense. Usually you want to save those tires till later in the race. If there's a caution that bunches the field back up, it's to your advantage to have those tires sitting in the pits. So these guys wanting to take as much time as possible on these tires that they're currently on. But this is when you see, the guys that have saved a little more. You're going to see a little bit more moving up through the field, a little bit more gap for those that have saved, and you might see some coming back to the field as well.
So it's kind of strange. I mean, tonight is a track that you can definitely set up some passes as a bit of a move there. You can definitely make some passes at this track, but where it gets interesting is, the tracks that you can't pass as well, the tracks that are kind of one groove and it's really, really tough passing, and it's a follow the leader type of track. Those are the ones where I almost feel like the exact opposite strategy seems to work out a little bit better. Taking those tires early on, making those passes, and then, when you have those older tires at the end, trying to use the gap that you build up to that point to play a little defense and hold on to those positions. It's really, like you said, it's how good you can maintain those tires as well. I mean, you can't just go out there, I got fresh tires, so I can just hammer down right now, pass a bunch of guys, stretch out to a big lead. Well, eventually it's going to bite you on that second run when those other guys have those fresh tires and can run you right back down. But yeah, it's driver preference, but typically you see what we see here right now with a lot of guys just taking fuel on this first run, saving those tires for possibly when it means the most, and maybe if some late cautions come out, they still have those tires in tow. But keeping it lean and green here tonight, we're getting close to the first 50 laps in the books.
Yeah, Justin Lewis really looking like the class of the field right now, but he is having to deal with some lap traffic on this shorter track in a big field tonight. He's coming up and having to make his way through on those old tires, so not easy to make his way through. He's going to have to tiptoe his way around and make sure that he can get through safely.
Brandon Muir looking for.
Speaking of, I don't know if you were at the front, Carl, but Lewis was trying to make his way around, and the 99 was not really having it. So definitely some lap traffic coming into play here.
Let's take a look back a lap here and see how that transpired. As actually, this is already coming into turn number 1 here. But some good battling back here at the back half of the top 10. Brian Dees in 8th place. Right behind him is Mike Hasty looking for a pass. Brandon Mears not too far in front of him. So the field not too far spread out. I mean, it's a little, well, as Jimmy would say, the Skittles are all over the track right now. It's spread out in the sense that it's all over the track. But a little moment there for Brian Dees coming off the corner. May give a chance to Mike Hasty heading off into turn number 1, but just a little bit too far back. But for the most part, you know, all still kind of single file, all just playing the waiting game maybe at this point. Back a little bit further, maybe not so much, as on the outside there, Tim Lee down a couple laps, but battling right alongside of him is the 66 John Garrett and the 00 there of Gordon Larson, as they're back here in 11th and 12th position. I want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe and get in touch to everything that CRN has to offer and everything that VRN does, or not VRN yet, VVR. As they put on some great races all season so far, and again, this is race number 13. Still got a long way to go in the season. Going to be a few more races here before they'll take their summer break, as Gordon Larson trying to break down the wall there coming off of turn number 2. But the series goes well off into the fall here, so a lot of racing still left on the schedule, but a lot of races still left here tonight, as we've still got 100 laps to go here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway here in Gateway. And David, welcome to some good oval racing here. I mean, maybe not a lot of passing, maybe not a lot of action right here at the moment, as everybody kind of spread out, but these drivers are making it look easy out there, and it is not. It is not when you're out there shifting these cars in every single corner.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, oval racing is not easy for me ever, but you know, this track, these cars, it's going to be a challenge out there, and not only thinking about, you know, all the shifting that they have to do. Each one of these corners is very different, as you said. They take different lines, different radiuses, and you know, just remembering where you are, what corner, and then you know, you're racing some other folks out there too. So you're not just out there by yourself. And you have to think about the strategy. Hasty looked like he took tires. He's been able to pass D's, as we were talking about that battle just a little bit earlier. But we'll see how that plays out ultimately with taking tires early in this race. You know, maybe he's one set down at the end and everyone else is on fresher tires. So just a lot to think about. And people talk about just driving in circles, but it is way more than that. And I can testify to that from doing it myself and watching here tonight. You know, just being able to see how it all plays out. It's always interesting.
Brandon Muir taking advantage of those new tires as well, moving around Joshua Divers up into 6th position. And it's what these drivers with the new tires have to do. They have to take advantage of those fresh tires and start moving their way up through the field if they can, and not waste any time in passing. That's the biggest thing, is you still need to set up your passes, and you need to set it up in a way that you can get around quickly. You can't be out there battling 2, 3, 4 laps side by side, because all it's going to do is just burn off all that fresh rubber that you just got. So a good job making a quick pass there on the 17. I'm sorry, on the 57. And now to the inside here, passing one of the lap cars here. We're down to 13 guys on the lead lap. So it's one of those things about this field being stretched out, is we've only got 13 guys on the lead lap right now, and Tyler Hilton is not that far in front of our leader right now. We could be down to 12 very soon.
Yeah, short lap here, and you know, as we talked about the entry, this is not your typical oval, so some guys, yeah, you know, just might not quite have the speed that some of the front runners have, and so we're going to have some more of that lap traffic coming into play, and I think you'll see even more of that tonight, especially if we stay green. Lap traffic already, you know, coming into play here, and when you're on worn tires, it's not always easy. You know, if the guy doesn't want to move over, you're going to have to find your own way around.
Justin Lewis still enjoying the lead out here. Took the lead pretty early here on Maxwell Caldwell, and really has not looked back. And still out there to a 2.5 second lead. Hasn't really stretched out the lead too much on this run. It's been kind of hanging right around there, 2.5, 2.6 for quite some time right now. And just kind of settling into to a pace right now. Still running just under 35 seconds, but that is, you know, a good second plus slower than these drivers' best laps, as some of the best laps out there sub 34 seconds. So right now looking at about 35 seconds a lap, so it's just a nice even pace right now, and especially with those tires wearing down, gives you an idea of how much. I mean, you know, 58 laps on these tires, only down about a second on the lap time, so that has to come into a factor as well, David. I mean, of course you want fresh tires out there, you want to feel nice and safe and comfy and cozy with that fresh rubber, but ultimately you're spending quite a bit of seconds in the pits getting those tires, and ultimately if it's only going to gain you a little bit on the track, you got to figure out if it's worth it or not.
Yeah, and we saw Hasty. He didn't have any extra time in the pit, but it looked like he took 2 tires, and you know, he's already starting to drop the pace. You know, after 15, 16 laps, he's now in the high 34s or 35s, and kind of stalling out a little bit as far as his progress through the field. Brandon Muir, on the other hand, he took 2 tires, or took both sides, and I think he is still progressing through the field a little bit and catching those in front of him, but potentially sacrificing some opportunity later in the race.
Just as we said, the lead not really stretching out to about 3.25 seconds right now, and now falling back down just quickly. It was out to about 3.5 seconds, so maybe just on the switch here, and actually that could be why. As a switch for second place, we'll take it back and see how Andrew Pileshi got around Maxwell Caldwell, who just moved over and let the 81 on by. So not sure if this was a strategy here just to get behind the 81, maybe a little fuel saving here for the 95, or just didn't want to be pressured at all anymore. But last week's winner, Andrew Pileshi, now moves himself into second place. We'll see if he can cut into lead at all at the front of the pack as we head back live. And again, it was at the 3.2 before we took a look at that. All of a sudden, it's down at 2.5.
Do we know, Carl, if Pileshi took tires or took 2 tires?
He did not. He did not. He was actually slightly faster than Justin Lewis in his pit stall. Both only taking fuel only. Looks like the highest running car right now with tires is 5th place Brandon Muir, and then it looks like Mike Hasty maybe taking 2 tires or just an extended pit stop there in 8th place. Maybe only taking right side tires for the 72, but again, we are down to 12 drivers on the lead lap, and pretty interesting to see that. I mean, we haven't seen this kind of, I mean, not necessarily domination, but I guess this much spread out in the field for quite some time here in the series, as most of the time there's quite a few drivers out there on the lead lap for majority of it, but it is all Justin Lewis at the front for the time being. But again, last week's winner, Andrew Pileshi, starting to run it down here a little bit.
We got a crash here. Kate Green.
Take a look here, as it looked like the caution is going to come out again here, but
my goodness,
big moment there.
How is that not a caution? He's sitting in the middle of the track.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe cautions aren't turned off here tonight. Maybe it's only on admin cautions, as that was a big moment there for Kate Green, and certainly needed to tow into the pits and take his faster mirror, but he is falling way down the order now in 25th, and still has not, you know, officially gotten back into the pits yet, still under towing. And now it looks like Robert Smith having a bit of an issue as well here in the 08 heading into turn number 1. And again, you get those tires on that lower quote-unquote apron on the track, and getting sideways, and you see he couldn't even get that car turned back to the right before he hit the inside wall. And you see that front left fender not exactly driving straight, and he has to limp that thing back to pit road.
Yeah, you can see how that may not be a caution as he was off the racing surface and into that infield wall and able to rejoin the track, albeit slowly. Cade Green, though, my goodness, I mean, he was spun in the middle of the track, and unfortunately, settings or iRacing, whatever, did not get the caution flag out. So, I'd like to see maybe some cautions to mix up some strategy here as we get toward the later third of this fuel stint, but yet to see if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, fool me once, shame on me when it comes to iRacing. iRacing certainly gets a little bit funky sometimes as to when they decide to throw out the cautions. And there's sometimes where there's a car like Robert Smith, they're completely off the track, completely on the apron, on the grass, whatever it is, all by himself, no one near him on the track, and he'll throw a caution. And then you'll have a situation like Cade Green where he's in the middle of the track and doesn't. So, I mean, iRacing can definitely get funky if the iRacing cautions are on, but the fact that we've seen it multiple times here tonight, I mean, we've seen quite a few times where the wreck, whether it be single car or not, is kind of right there in the middle of the track or right in the racing line. So it leads me to believe that the cautions may be on admin cautions here tonight. But either way, it's to the liking of Justin Lewis. He doesn't want to see any cautions come out here as he stretches his lead back out to 2.8 seconds. It's another second and a half almost back to Maxwell Caldwell in third place. Then you got another almost 3 seconds back to Brandon Muir in fourth. Ty Marasco rounding out your top 5. Joshua Divers, Mike Casey, Dalton Kilroe, John Garrett, and Ryan Dees rounding out your top 10, but then only 2 more cars being Todd Merkel and Gordon Larson still on the lead lap. And again, not going to be for too long here as Gordon Larson, the 00, is right in front of your leader, at least a couple cars in front. You see that green and yellow car in the distance is Gordon Larson. He'd be the next victim to go 1 lap down. But all in all, I mean, you can't really fault these guys. We've certainly had a couple issues, a couple moments, and a couple torn up cars because of it. But all in all, these guys driving a very good race here as we now complete 69 laps and start lap number 70.
Yep, but we're about probably 5-6 laps away from where you'll start to see our second round of pit stops, and it'll be interesting to see what the tire strategy is at this point. You would think after 75 laps, about half the race, that these guys will be itching to get the new rubber on. Expect to see a little bit longer pit stops this time. Maybe some folks want to take 2 tires, get a little bit of track position, save about 5 or 6 seconds in the pits and jump their opponents. So it'll be interesting to see this round of pit stops.
Well, what's going to be interesting too is, we talked about this race being a 3-stop race, but some of these drivers came in early enough that they're going to be stretching it here to make it a 3-stop race, as we've seen Chris Moreland pit on lap number 35, Brandon Muir in on lap number 36, your top 3 drivers, Lewis, Peleschi, and Caldwell in on lap 37. That's not going to make you to the halfway point. And right now we see Todd Merkel as one of those guys that pit early. He's now in the pits again. We're not at the halfway point just yet. And this is now their second pit stop. So if they're not careful here and stretching out these runs for the last 2, they're going to have 4 pit stops in this race.
Yeah, that's definitely not a position you want to be in. If you're counting on a caution, maybe. I mean, you gotta hope that it's going to come out though, because we've seen, as we just talked about, some wrecks and no cautions. So these guys that are pitting now, they're not to the halfway point, and they're going to have to do some serious saving.
Well, you want a caution, but you don't, because right now you see Todd Merkel already down a lap. And could be getting close to going down 2 laps before he actually gets back out on the track. So he's not in the lucky dog position right now. Yeah, he can take a wave around if that's what he chooses, but he's certainly behind the 8 ball if a caution were to come out here. So going to be tough for some of these drivers. Now we see John Garrett coming into the pits as well. Again, another driver not making the halfway point in this race. So those drivers that stayed out there for the longer time, we talked about the Mikes. The Mikes may have it here tonight, as we've seen Ty Marasco staying out there to lap 39. Got Mike Hasty out there until lap 40, as well as Mike Rideout to lap 40. So they may be a little bit off pace right now, and Mike Rideout down a lap right now. But if you can save a pit stop, that is going to be a huge advantage over the entire race. Nice here,
another one
heading into the pits.
Yep. Another one that pitted a little bit later, Dalton Kilrow, lap 39.
Very close there with Len McNeese heading into the pit lane. Yeah, I was going to say, you got to watch that. That is not a virtual fence right there. You can hit that guardrail right there, but a few of our top guys, Lewis, Paleschi, Caldwell, all in the pits right at about the halfway point. So they're certainly cutting it close as well. But all these drivers that are still out there, I think are sitting kind of nice right now, and they don't necessarily have to save, or at least not save as much here on the second half of the race. But Ty Marasco takes over the lead. We've seen him have a great car last week, and really thought he was finally going to break through for MFRD and grab his first win, but it was just not meant to be. It's like another issue here for Tim Lee heading off into turn number 1 here, and again, you see it once again. You get those tires, and you kind of separate over that little the banking right there, and it's not what the car likes at all. We've seen 3-4 cars have that same issue right there, but Tim Lee keeps off the walls, keeps it going here, and we will stay green as we have reached the halfway mark here on lap number 76. Ty Marasco still out there flicking off some laps. He last pit on lap number 39, so may see him come in these next couple laps as Josh Stivers now comes into the pits, giving up 3rd position, as it's going to be Marasco, Hasty, and Kilrow right now in your top 3. Oh, big moment on the backstretch, and that involves Paleschi and Caldwell, 2 of your top drivers here tonight. We'll take a look back at what happened again. No caution coming out here, but Paleschi, a big moment, sliding sideways on the backstretch. Right there, you see Caldwell get into the wall on the outside. Looks like no contact was made between the 81 and the 95. 95 maybe getting to the wall a little bit, but again, another car right in the middle of the track. And I think they just said, you know what, you guys can have a faster pair. You're not getting cautions here tonight. I don't think they're going to see anything here tonight the way it looks. And it's going to make a quicker race for us for sure, and make it very interesting. But Ty Marasco again, this time taking a bunch of grass coming in there. And you got to wonder, David, I mean, you take too much grass there, one, it's going to slow you down, but two, you could end up getting an unsafe entry.
Yeah, if you're, middle of the car over that yellow line on the outside, I'm not sure. I think if you come back into the pit entry, you're going to have a penalty. So it'll be interesting to see here if he has a 40-second hold or anything like that. I think he's going to be safe, but it might be close.
Mike Casey now your leader, and Dalton Kilrow still gets to come in for his second pit stop as well. But that was a big moment there for both the 95 of Maxwell Caldwell and the where's my train of thought here? The 81 of Andrew Paleschi, and going to lose a lot of time and a few positions as well. Casey still staying out for another lap. Dalton Kilrow going to come into the pits as Justin Lewis will end up cycling out as your leader, and he looks to have a huge lead now on the field, as the next car behind him will end up being Brandon Meir. But now, all that time that Brandon Meir gained by taking the tires on the last pit stop, he takes fuel only this time, and a lot of the drivers, all of them in front of him and the majority of them behind him, are going to have tires where he only has fuel. So right now the gap between what's going to be your leader, Justin Lewis, and Brandon Meir, only about 4 seconds, well, actually about a little over 3 seconds right now. But I think that is going to grow exponentially over the next few laps with Lewis having those fresh tires.
Yeah, I think so too. And, if you have guys that are pitting with, 70 laps into this race, 74 laps, 73 laps into this race. Does that also mean that fuel saving was happening for most of the field? You know, that was pitting at lap 75 or greater. So you have to think that might be an advantage here at the end if they want to try to make some passes for position. Having that extra fuel is going to come in handy. And if we don't have any cautions, you know, I definitely want to see, you know, that second pit stop come after lap 75. So those guys up front, Marasco, a little bit of an error into the pits, but it looks like he got away with it. Divers and Kilrow, you got to look out for these guys. I think they're going to be able to move toward the front here at the end.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's one thing trying to make sure you save enough fuel so you don't have that extra pit stop. And I mean, Justin Lewis last pit now on lap 74, so very close to that halfway point. But he's going to have to save that to make sure he makes it to the end on fuel. But I mean, you want to save to get to that point. But you know, if you're Justin Lewis, he's already got a lap lead over majority of the field. Only the top 8 right now on the lead lap. So you know, essentially he's got about a pit stop lead on everybody. So if he needs to take that extra pit stop, he's still going to come out in the top 10. But the guys that he's not going to come out in front of are the guys that don't need to make that extra pit stop, being Ty Marasco pitting on lap number 78, Joshua Divers pit on 76, Mike Hasty on 80, Dalton Kilrow on 79. All those guys look to be, you know, very, very well to make the you know, like you said, David, a little bit better run in this second half of the race, and can maybe get on it a little bit, hustle the car a little bit more, gain some more speed, and really put the pressure on Justin Lewis if he's going to make that extra pit stop. But guys like, you know, Todd Merkel in 8th place right now, last one on the lead lap. He's going to try and stay on the lead lap, but he can't. He pit on lap 70, and that is going to be very, very difficult to save an extra, you know, 10 laps in the second half of the race to make it all the way to the end.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think without the cautions in this race, it throws out a little bit of the potential. You know, I'm gonna push hard and count on a caution later, and the tire strategy as well. You know, if you're not gonna have a caution, you probably still want to save those tires to the end, maybe, but it doesn't advantage those who have extra tires if there's not going to be a caution either.
This race almost turning into a bit of an endurance race in the fact of having to try and make it to the end. And I tell you, one guy that's having trouble making it to the end here is the man behind the curtain here at VVR, Tim Lee, as again having some trouble here in turn 1, and again for the same reason, gets half of the car down below that strip of pavement that you need to stay above. You see most of these other guys maybe just, you know, a smidge below that line, but Tim Lee then stuck on the top of turn 1 and 2 before he could actually pull away. And that was some hard impact into the outside wall for the 24. We will stay green, and again, Todd Merkel out there to now an 8.5 second lead over Brandon Muir in second, but Muir has got some company on the inside. Here comes Ty Marasco. No pit road penalty, and no problem making the pass here. Moving back into second, and David, we have got a caution as the 24 did not have a chance to get going in turns 1 and 2. And that will certainly throw a wrench into a lot of strategies. But I'll tell you what, I mean, only Maxwell Caldwell is going to get the free pass, and lucky dog here give us 9 cars on the lead lap. That is a huge turnaround, a huge benefit to all those guys that were not going to make it on fuel here in the second half of the race. We've got a brand new race.
Oh man, and they were doing such a good job of avoiding Tim, and then someone did come by and took off his front bumper there. He he was stuck there. I mean, he was completely stuck, and I think there was no choice there but to throw the caution. You know, with all of these cars spread out across the track, he was going to have a hard time rejoining because every second or two there was another car coming by, and so he just stuck it out there. And these guys did a great job of avoiding him, but really a good choice here to throw the caution flag. It's going to be interesting to see though, because those guys that were maybe a little behind on that fuel strategy, this is huge for them. This allows them to come down, save a little bit extra fuel under caution, and possibly pit as well. So this is a big turn of events for several guys in this race that were borderline.
Bring you back live and take a look and see who decides to come in the pits here. I mean, is there any question if you're in the top 10, if you're on the lead lap here, of coming in the pits here? I mean, I know track position's been so big, but I don't think there's any reason to stay out here, is there? I mean, it looks like we do have a couple guys. I mean, yeah, actually, they've already been past pit road for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm Marasco or Hasty, I'm staying out. I mean, I pitted, what, 5 or 8, 10 laps ago, and took tires, and I'm not going to take tires again. I'm fine on fuel strategy. These guys don't have any advantage from pitting at this point, so they're going to take the track position.
Very true. I do realize that and recognize that as well. Yeah, with Marasco pitting on lap 78, Mike Hasty on 80, they were already looking pretty good. Tell you what, the Mike's working their way up toward the front here. At least Mike Hasty back up there towards the front had that early on incident in the race where he fell back from 5th to 10th, but now finds himself up there in 2nd place. Marasco up 4 spots to 1st right now. Justin Lewis is going to come out of the pits in 3rd place, so he is now back in the window of being able to make this thing with 1 more pit stop, if I'm not mistaken. And we got we got Brandon Meyer in 4th place, Andrew Paleschi in 5th, and Josh Divers, Dalton Kilroe, Todd Merkel, Maxwell Caldwell, your top 9 on the lead lap, and then Gordon Larson, first car, 1 lap down, and certainly a lot of drivers right there, 1 lap down from 10th all the way down to 16th. Would love to see this thing get a few more cautions and work their way back up there onto that lead lap, but as it stands, I mean, we're not too far past the halfway point, and we've only got 9 cars technically in contention at this moment.
Okay, we're about to have just a few more on the lead lap, as we're going to get 3 cars with the wave around as well. And the caution has been extended here to make sure we can take care of all that.
Looks like Maxwell Caldwell did not get the lucky dog. So he is going to be your first car that is going to take the wave around here. Looks like Gordon Larson around the outside. Maybe, no, that's right, because maybe Caldwell was involved in the incident, but looks like maybe Gordon Larson is the one that gets the wave around, which is kind of strange. And I've seen that before, where the person that should get the lucky dog doesn't get it, the person behind him gets it, and it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, regardless if you were in the incident or not, I mean, you should lose a position because of something like that, and that's what's happened right here. Maxwell Caldwell lost a position here as Gordon Larson goes on by, but the 95 and it looks like the 98 are going to get a wave around here. Looks like Mike Taylor will end up being only 2 laps down. And I mean, for these guys back here just outside the top 10, fight just to even stay 1 lap down at this point is what's got to be on the mind. I mean, you got a whole new race, maybe out of it for a top 10 position, but there's still a good 4, 5, 6 guys within reach, of passing or passing you.
Not going green.
Well, regardless of who got a wave around or not, this has taken Justin Lewis out of the lead, and Tyler Marasco and Mike Hasty will be out in front of him on this restart. And I believe they will have, I'm guessing wouldn't have taken tires on this pit stop, so they will have slightly fresher tires as well. But Lewis has been the class of the field all night, and he'll have to see if he can make it around some of these guys that now have more experience on this track and have kind of bedded their way in. They know their lines, and it's going to make for some interesting racing here.
I mean, again, we've seen Justin Lewis take the lead at the beginning of the race over Maxwell Caldwell, but that's the only pass that he's truly had to make for position all night. Now he's got two guys in front of him, as he's got Ty Marasco and Mike Casey making up that front row. He's going to start in third place alongside the looks like the 34 of Brandon Meir, and then Andrew Palesci right behind him as well. I mean, we seen not too long ago Palesci sideways on the backstretch and losing a bunch of time, losing a bunch of positions, but now right back in the mix of things. And certainly the 81 has got plenty of speed as well. So we'll see if this little fresh restart here can get these drivers back under control. Obviously, everybody that came in on that pit stop there, with the exception of Todd Merkel, looks like I'm sorry, not Todd Merkel, Gordon Larson, taking tires, but that was back in lap 76, so it wasn't under this caution here. So we are going to get back racing here. We're going to have 57 laps to go when we take the green, so not necessarily go time just yet. Still got another pit stop in the bag here for all these drivers, and I'm sure one more set of tires that they're going to want to take on that last pit stop. But it'll be interesting when that happens as well, because maybe you take the chance at another caution coming out and having those fresh tires at the end. But Ty Marasco are going to lead these boys off for the restart here. We'll send it over to Barney's cam and show you the restart here on lap number 93.
Green, green, green.
Marasco on the loud pedal as they head off down into turn number 1.
Lewis with a heck of a restart. Getting inside Hasty, and he's right against the door of Hasty, and he's got a good run off of 2.
Down the backstretch, and Lewis is going to move himself into second place. Look for a moment there like he was going to take a dive into the inside for first, but now he's going to settle off into second place. Can the 07 hang with and pass the 1 here of Marasco? Marasco, again, had a great race last week, but came up 1 spot short. And now he's got the lead late here in the race. Lewis goes all the way down onto that lower apron, and I think he thought better of trying to get on the gas while he was down there. And now Hasty getting a good run off the corner. Had to move out there, and Lewis looking maybe for a little fake there, heading into turn number 3, but certainly harassing the back of that 1 car right now. He wants that lead back. He wants it back quickly, because he knows once this thing stretches out a little bit more, Marasco does have slightly fresher tires than that 07, but here comes Lewis again to the inside. Just a little bit of a fake out once again, maybe getting some air on that front to slow him down, but it's still Ty Marasco at the front of this field.
Got some great racing back in the back, as well as a couple double wide, almost 3 wide into turn 1. But we'll stick with the front runners here, as this is the best racing out front we've seen since lap 1 of the race. The 07 right on the bumper now of the 1.
Just about pushing him down off into turn number 1 as we complete lap number 96 here, getting close to 50 laps to go. Marasco with the lead, and the first leader that we've seen that different since very on early in this race, at least, under racing conditions here. But now the 07 looks to the inside again. Marasco going to try and put up a little fight on the outside. It gets wicked loose, still trying to save it on the outside. Marasco up towards the outside wall and now parked in the middle of the track. Looks like the caution again not going to come out. We're going to get back going. Looks like the 1 is going to get back going here now that the field has gone by. And once again, Marasco with a lead late in the race, and he may be looking at another race where he wonders what could have been, as Justin Lewis, the pressure from the 07, and now we will have a late caution here. Maybe it was discussed over the radio about the 1 kind of sitting in the middle of the track. We will have another caution. That's going to be music to the ears of the 66 if he gets the wave around here and gets back on the lead lap. But, I mean, you want to talk about the pressure there from Justin Lewis. It was just a matter of time until he, hassled the one into a mistake, and that's exactly what happened.
That's where the move was going to happen. As you saw, he tried to make the move into one, and he just wisely did not want to get down off of that groove and send his car loose. And so he was going to take the dive into three, and just a little bit offline for Marasco there, and it just upset his line, and unfortunately he was losing it out of the corner there. So there was some chatter over the radio as far as the caution coming out. I think they would have liked to come out sooner, obviously, but eventually we did get the caution here, and Marasco's going to come into the pit.
So now the question becomes, we're going to be under 50 laps to go. If you're towards the back half of the top 10, do you take the chance of coming in right now, taking your tires, and maybe, just, driving conservatively, not driving, too crazy? If you can pick up a position, you do, but take those as your last tires of the race and run that thing all the way to the end. When you take that one last pit stop that you're still going to ultimately have to take, you're only taking a splash and dash. Do you take that chance from the back half of the top 10 at this point if you're you?
That's a tough one there, actually. If there was 5 more laps in, maybe you could actually even save to the end of the race and not have that extra stop. But I think I'm probably staying out here and counting on, cautions breeding cautions, and potentially having some more strategy plays here at the end.
Certainly going to be interesting here, as we did have a couple takers to pit road. Maxwell Caldwell in there, obviously Ty Marasco in there as well. But it looks like both of them going in and out, not taking tires. But Brandon Meir in 10th place right now did take tires. So we'll see what that 34 can do, moving his way through the field on this restart. But majority of the field, at least in the top 10 there, staying out is Justin Lewis, Mike Hasty, Andrew Pileshi, Josh Divers, and Dalton Kilroy going to be your top 5. The 66 of John Garrett did get the wave around, and he is going to go ahead and bring it into the pits here from 11th place. We'll have the top 11 on the lead lap right now. Brian Dees in that lucky dog position if another caution were to come out. But we'll see what the 66 elects to do. Looks like he's just going to take fuel only as well. And actually, no, it was stationary, and then it wasn't. So we'll see what the 66 elects to do here, and yeah, just fuel only, as he's going to come back out in the pits. A few more drivers back in the pack in the pits as well, or a few laps down. But we've now got 50 laps to go, and David, do you have a favorite at this point? I mean, is it all Justin Lewis, or do you think some wild cards are going to be played here at the end?
Lewis has not done anything to bobble his position so far. Just an unfortunate happening for him with the caution to put him behind Marasco there on that restart. But I think you got to go with Justin Lewis at this point. He was 3 seconds ahead of the field, and in control of this race before that first caution. So no reason to think he can't bring it to the end. He's got to be my favorite right now.
Just want to give a shout out again to everyone out there watching this race, as it's been very interesting. It's been a lot of green flag racing for the first, probably 60% of this race. A couple cautions here now around the lap 100 mark, and we're going to have less than 50 laps to go here as we get the restart. The pace car lights are going to be off. Thank you again to our sponsors here in the series: Goldline Guardians, Fort Worth Screen Printing, and Hilton Crafts and Designs. And a big shout out to all these drivers that came out here tonight. 27 cars taking the green flag here, 13 races into the season. It's great to see. It's great to see those numbers here on the restart, as we've still got looks like about 20 cars still running out here in the race, maybe 21 cars out here in the race. And since we are a little bit further now and under 50 laps to go, it's about time to crank these boys up on the restart here and give everyone out there in Sierra Nation a little love to hear it.
Green flag, green
the sights and sounds here of the Virtual Velocity Racing 2024 Cup Series here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, and it's been a very good, very interesting race so far. Justin Lewis back at the point. We've got Andrew Pileshi in second, Joshua Divers, Dalton Kilrow, Maxwell Caldwell, your top five. You've seen a bit of a moment there under the lead. You'd love to hear it. With the number one, again, having some late race issues, getting sideways and then getting into the 71 of Amy Gherardini, who almost lost it in front of our leaders as well. But it is Justin Lewis out there to a half a second lead over Andrew Pileshi, trying to close this thing out. Tyler Hilton, the first one here into the pits, maybe making his last pit stop here a bit early, but it'd be interesting to see if the short pit works out for some of these drivers, as going to be taking tires here on this last pit stop, David. And you know, short pitting and taking those fresh tires, getting out there with some better tires than everybody else, can certainly pay dividends on the road or on the oval.
Yeah, I think that's smart at this point, because these guys are a little more spread out. There's less chance of a caution. And get in there early, get those tires, try to put in some good laps, get position on the track, and I think that's what these guys that are pitting now are thinking. They may be fine on fuel, but they can take a little bit earlier stop and make better time on the track.
Well, maybe for some other guys, but it looks like Tyler Hilton's still in the pits, so maybe having some issues there on the O2. But going to be some issues at the front of the race here, as Justin Lewis coming up on some lap traffic, as he's got the one of Ty Marasco in front of him, and not see who the other one is. It might be the 12 of Chris Moreland right in front of him. So we're going to have some lap traffic coming up very soon, and his lead is now under a half a second, as Pileshi trying to do the same thing to Justin Lewis, who gets a little loose off the corner right there, trying to put the pressure on that 07 late, as the lead is now under 0.4 of a second. Again, all these drivers will need to make one more pit stop before this thing is over, so still a lot to play for, and this thing is far from over when it comes to deciding the winner. But we've got now, you know, with this these late race cautions, 9 seconds separating in the top 10, as before the caution started here, we were starting to lose guys here in the top 10 on the lead lap, and there's about 28 seconds in between the top 8. So it's good to see late in the race here we got the top 10 still up there in the mix, as it's Justin Lewis, Andrew Pileshi, Joshua Divers, Dalton Kilrow, Mike Casey in your top 5. Then you got Mir, Caldwell, Larson, Merkel, and Garrett in your top 10, and the only guys on the lead lap, as the rest of the field is at least one lap down.
Yeah, I think if you look at some of the lap times, you're about a second a lap faster on fresh tires than on old tires. I'm gonna predict that you will see some of these front runners, even if they're not quite at the end of their fuel run. I think you'll see them start to come in about lap 120. They last pitted on lap 88. So coming up on 32 laps on these tires, and they'll need fuel soon anyway, within the next 5 or 6 laps.
Well, I think your first taker here in the top 10, Maxwell Caldwell, in the pits here, and I think this may start a barrage of coming into the pits. Everybody good to go on fuel. If they were to pit right now, they will be able to make it to the end. Looks like the 66 of John Garrett also slowing down. Yeah, he is in the inside on that entry lane. He's coming into the pits as well, so another one from that top 10 coming into the pits and gonna take the last pit stop of the race. But we'll see where the rest of these 8 drivers, when they decide to come in. If you're Justin Lewis, I'm gonna put you in the hot seat one more time, David. You're Justin Lewis, you're out there to close to a half a second lead. It's not much at all. You've got some lap cars in front of you. When do you decide to come in? Do you dictate when you come in, or are you dictated by the guys right behind you? How do you play this thing out?
Yeah, I think he's had enough pace tonight that he probably can afford to wait until he sees the 81 pull off and then pit the next lap. But he needs to be paying attention to that, because if he waits too long, if Pileshi were to pit right now, oh, there he comes. It looks like Lewis is pulling the trigger.
07, your leader for majority of this race, coming in to make his final pit stop, and Want to talk about a guy hoping that no cautions come out. He does not want any kind of cautions coming out at this point. Brandon Muir has been in the pits as well. It's going to give it the lead. It's Andrew Pileshi, as Gordon Larson also going to join Lewis in pit lane, as well as some of the other guys that are a lap down at this point. You see Muir coming back out onto the track, and we'll keep an eye on Brandon Muir just on this lap. Well, I was going to say that to see how the speed difference is, but very much speed as Andrew Pileshi now comes into the pits. Looks like Joshua Divers battling for the lead here with Dalton Kilrow coming off of the corner. It's going to be Divers here at the line, getting the bonus point there for leading a lap, but these guys should be coming in here on the next couple laps. Divers enters the corner a little bit low, drifts up, and I was going to say may give a run to Kilrow, but we're probably going to see these guys come into the pits here in these next couple laps. Looks like they're going to stay out this time by certainly have a few more laps in the tank to make it around here, but with all these guys coming in the pits, Andrew Pileshi just coming in on that last lap, and now they're coming up on what is a lap car currently of Brandon Muir, but he was one of the guys up there in the top 10, currently sitting in 5th place. But the last car on the lead lap is now Todd Merkel going to come in and sacrifice 4th position, and it's going to leave your top 3, Divers, Kilrow, and Hasty, yet to come into the pits.
And Lewis has come out of the pits. He is on the track, and Pileshi has come out behind him, still within 1 second, but taking that earlier pit stop has given Justin Lewis a clear run to the end if it remains on this strategy, with the rest of the folks in front of him needing to pit still.
Well, what's going to be interesting is a car that is not too far in front of him. Brandon Muir made his final pit stop, no tires. And same thing for Maxwell Caldwell, who is the next car in front of Justin Lewis. Both those guys not taking any tires, or at least for Caldwell, maybe he took right side tires, but not taking 4 like Justin Lewis and Andrew Pileshi. So we'll see how they can maneuver through the field here, if they can maneuver through the field. Hasty and Divers now in the pits. Dalton Kilrow at the point. He's still yet to come in, and he'll be the last one towards the top to come into the pits. Brian Dees right now in 7th, but he is 1 lap down. He's still going to come into the pits. Other than that, the top 11 have all made their final pit stop, as we are down to 25 laps to go.
I'm trying to look and do some math here and see if I can get the the AWS. He will catch him in this many laps with those who have not taken tires. I think we'll get a little bit clearer picture here in the next couple of laps of what that might look like.
Well, it's about to bunch up very, very quickly here, as you see the 95 right now in 3rd place. He is 1 lap down. Your leader right in front of him, Dalton Kilrow, still out there, still clicking off laps. But you see how quickly these cars are coming up on him. And yeah, Caldwell may have 2 right side tires, but here comes a pass on the inside by Lewis. This is 4th position. Got very close. Caldwell maybe got in the wall right there, as Lewis going to move on by, move into 3rd place. And that's a big pass. Now goes to the inside. Power move right there by the 07. He knows he needs to catch up to Muir, who's the next one up the road, and he would certainly love to get around this 41 as well, and to put himself back on the lead lap, as Kilrow's still out there for another lap. Now coming up on Muir, who did not take any tires as well, and Lewis looks like he's going to get to the inside and dispatch him very quickly as well. A little side draft there, gets to the inside into turn number 1, and easy as you like, as Justin Lewis moves back into 2nd. 2 cars behind him is your leader, Dalton Kilrow, but he still has yet to come into the pits. Big run there down the backstretch, and almost got him in the back of the 34. And we'll see if Kilrow decides to come in this time. Still going to stay out, and we want to talk about a guy hoping for a caution. That 41 would love to see the yellow flag come out right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's banking on, and unfortunately, he's just going to be losing time hand over fist to the 07, who is now back in control of this race. Even though Kilrow is technically in the lead, he's going to have to pit again, and he's losing time lap over lap. Oh, and into the wall goes Kilrow on the exit 2 on those older tires, really pushing hard as he's in the midst of the lap cars as well.
How about Pelesci on that lap right there, going 3 wide into turn 1 on the bottom. He knows he needs to get around these lap cars as quick as possible if he wants any chance at Lewis. Does a fantastic job on that lap, passing 4 cars to get himself right behind Lewis one more time. And you see the 95 not too far behind. He does the same thing. He gets around the 34 and the 12, as the 34 was 4 positions. So now it is Kilrow, Lewis, Pelesci, Caldwell, Mir, your top 5. But Mir fighting back on the inside, not going quietly, but he's going to have to fall back now as Caldwell going to hold on to 4th, which will eventually turn into 3rd place if that 41 ever decides to come into the pits. I mean, he last been on lap 88, so granted we had quite a few caution laps that he's been able to run that car, but he does need to make another pit stop. I promise you, he's not going to be able to stretch that thing out for was that 63 laps. That's definitely not going to happen for the 41, but for the time being, he's running out there and trying and hoping for that caution flag to come out. So far, it is still green, and it's been pretty hard to bring out the caution here tonight, as only a couple cautions here, and those were even thrown a little bit later, most likely by admins, as a couple more drivers come into the pits, but still no movement from that 41.
My goodness, how many laps is he going to do? I mean, we're on lap 132, and here he comes. He's just announced over the radio he will be coming in.
I don't think this thing is quite over just yet, as Pelesci not giving up, and he is right behind Lewis right now. I don't know if Lewis was saving anything, if he had trouble getting through the lap traffic, if he's got anything in the tank. If he does, he's going to have to use it up pretty soon, because that 81 is on a charge, down to about 0.2 of a second behind the 07 right now. This will be your battle for the lead, unless something crazy happens here with Kilrow, who is now in the pits to make his final pit stop. But even if he takes fuel only, he's still going to lose a lead, as your soon-to-be leaders head into turns number 3 and 4. And that 41 still stationary now, driving in at pit lane. Looks like the 41 took 4 tires, and he's going to have the freshest tires on the track coming out here pretty late, but he's going to have a lot of ground to make up as the 07 and 81 head off from turn number 1. A quarter second separates the lead here with 17 laps to go.
And it goes from I want the caution right now to I don't want the caution, or the other way around for Kilrow, as he wants it now because he has the freshest tires on the track and would be able to give these guys a fight, coming out right now in 7th place. But right now we have a 2-man fight at the front of this field, and Andrew Pelesci out of nowhere, or not really out of nowhere, but as far as the pace of what we've seen so far, now taking it to the 07. He's right on the bumper, and he's going to make this thing a race to the very end. I mean, we've seen so far in this race, Justin Lewis been able to gap everyone behind him, but not the case anymore, as Pelesci is pushing hard.
Now to the inside and fighting with lap car here of Taylor, and that's going to allow Andrew Pelesci to sneak up right to the back bumper of the 07. You see Lewis blocking that inside a little bit before he heads to the outside to get a better entry into the corner, but not going to get down to the stripe, as the 81 looks to the inside, going to have to back out as they head off down at the backstretch. But this is the closest it's been, and it's when you want it to be this close. We are at the last stage of this race, 15 laps to go, and we've got one heck of a battle on our hands. Pelesci looking to grab back-to-back victories after he took the win last week at Charlotte. And out here, Justin Lewis looking to grab his first win on the season. This is not going to go down very easily for either of these drivers, as Lewis has certainly been the dominant car all race long, led a bunch of laps here tonight, and really only under some strange cautions did he lose the lead for a little bit. But now he's got a battle on his hands, and the Smart Food number 81 looking to put the pressure on, and is doing so, looking for a little outside in here off of 3 and 4, getting very close to that 07. Now looking to the inside, Lewis tries to cut him off, but now the 81 on the inside heading into turn 1. It's a little treacherous down there, but the 07 goes too wide up into the marbles. Now going to try and get a run down the backstretch, but the 81 of Paleshi scraping the wall now off of 2, giving this 07 a chance once again, but he is going to have the lead heading into turn number 3.
Wow, what a race here at the end! Out of the blue, we turned into a real fight here, and Andrew Paleshi taking it to the 07, who really washed up into the high marbles and turn 1. He'd been taking a little bit higher line. I think he was trying to make sure he could defend into 3 and 4, which has been the typical passing spot, but this time he got too high, and the 81 was there to take advantage.
Dalton Kilrow making a pass and moving himself up into the top 5, but he is 8 seconds adrift of the leaders right now, as is Paleshi, Lewis, Caldwell, Hasty, and Kilrow for your top 5. You got to think that that Kilrow's got enough to at least catch up and make it interesting with Hasty and Caldwell, but it's going to be a long journey to get all the way up there to get your leaders, as now Divers moves into the 6th place, making the pass on Meyer. But at the front, this thing is far from over, as Paleshi has made the move, but he has made that move into the wall off of turn number 2 quite a few times as well. And it is 1/10 of a second separating first and second, and we will take the 10 to go this time by.
I think all 10 of these laps are going to be bumper to bumper for the 07 and the 81 here up front. These guys are not leaving anything in the tank, not leaving any tire on those wheels, as they're taking every advantage of every little bit they can in this battle, and that's exactly what you want to see coming to the end of this race.
07 had a tremendous run going into turn number 1 and had to throw it way to the outside without getting into the back of the 81, and then gained all that time right back coming off of turn number 2, but it will be back to 0.2 of a second going through 3 and 4. What does the 07 have? Does Lewis have anything left to try and take the battle here to Paleshi with 9 laps to go? He seemed to be the dominant car all night, but Paleshi has just been hanging there in the top 5 all night long and spent quite a few laps in 2nd place, just kind of hanging out right there, but now turning it on late. They both have the same tires as Paleshi. I guess it technically has 1 lap newer tires than the 07, but he is now starting to stretch his legs out to almost 0.4 of a second through 3 and 4.
I don't know if you caught it there, Carl, but the 07 went back to the lower line out of 1 and 2, and it looked pretty good. But then coming off the turn, he almost got just a little bit loose, and that really killed his run. And I'm thinking he's just showing a little more desperation now, trying some different things, and it's not quite working out, as the 81 is pulling out to now 0.5 second lead.
Yeah, it's not working out at all. He's going to have to try and figure out something to figure it out quick. 0.5 second lead when they went down on the backstretch that time, and we're going to have 7 laps to go at the line, as it looks like the 81 of Paleshi taking a stranglehold of this lead. 0.6 of a second now at the line with 7 to go. You got another 4 seconds back to Maxwell Caldwell in 3rd place. Then you got Mike Hasty and Dalton Kilrow, your top 5, as Kilrow trying to use the freshest tires on the track to reel down and pick off a couple more positions in the top 5, but time is starting to run out here. Divers in 6th place, Mir, Larson, Merkel, and Garrett rounding out your top 10, but it's been very interesting and one heck of a battle here after this final pit stop at the front of the field. Lewis gaining a little bit of time this time by, so maybe just falling back and cooling off his tires here for a lap or 2 before he makes a final charge. And yeah, down to 0.4 of a second heading into turn number 1. It may not be over just yet. We'll see if the 07 has one last charge in him, but time is ticking away. 5.5 laps to go.
The 07 seems to be settling back in, as you said, maybe cooling off his tires and taking that line that lets him just roll a little bit more speed and not put himself in a place where he's going to get loose and hurt the tires a little more. But still about 0.5 second, so we'll see if he can find anything against the 81 here. And the 81 just really looks comfortable right now.
I mean, all it takes is one little bobble by either of these cars to kind of make it a determining factor. But Lewis not going away, as it's down again to 0.4 of a second heading into turn number 3. It seems like he gains on the entry of the corner. He gains a little bit on the exit of the corner. It's really the middle of the corner that he loses a bit. but it's down to a half a second at the line. So little by little, we'll take a look at the lap times the last couple times there, and you see some gains there on 142 and 143 by Pileshi. But then since then, just little by little, that 07 trying to reel back in the 81 here at the front of the pack. But he's going to have to go a little bit quicker than this, as this time by it's going to be down to 3 laps to go.
We do also have a good battle for third going on right now, as Mike Hasty is within, right on the bumper actually, of the 95.
And right behind him is Dalton Kilrow as well. So a 3-car battle here for third place about to happen. Lap car of Len McNeese in front as well. So this is going to have to shake out pretty quickly. The 41 got the freshest tires in the field, so you know he's going to want to try and make quick work of these two. But back out at the front, it is down to a quarter second. You see the gap once again. Gained a 1/10 of a second that last lap did the 07. And he's only got 3/10 more to gain to have a chance, but he's only got 2 laps to do it. That time by, again, slight margin given to the 07. Gaining some time, but lost a bunch there entering turn number 1. Not sure what line he took there, but it certainly wasn't the race winning move. Heading into turn number 1, lost a bunch of time out to about a half a second again. Heading now into turn number 3. The 81 coming off of turn number 4, going to see that white flag.
And they are 2 wide, almost 3 wide for third place here, as the 72 is holding on to it, but the 41 with the Dalton Kilrow with those fresher tires is making a big run and pushing the 72 across the line as they take the white.
Yeah, pushing Hasty into turn number 1, going to slide up, and now almost 3 wide into turn 1. The 41 is going to take to the apron. 72 gets loose, the 95 gets back past on the outside. Out front, Andrew Pileshi looks like he's going to take this thing down. He's got a lap car in front of him, but it's not going to hold him up enough. Andrew Pileshi, back-to-back winner here as he wins it at Worldwide Technology. Justin Lewis going to come home in second, but off the turn 4, Maxwell Caldwell going to hold off the late charge by Mike Hasty and Dalton Kilrow. That's going to be your top 5. What a finish here in the top 5. And man, David, it wasn't too much fireworks throughout the race, but they saved it for the finale for sure.
Yeah, Pileshi definitely saved it for the right time. He was happy all race to be, 0.7 back of Lewis and just keeping it under control. And in the end, he had a little bit more in the tank as far as the speed that he was able to produce and getting in front of Lewis and holding on.
Fantastic race by all the boys here at VVR, and it is the 81 that pops into victory lane one more time, and that Smart Food number 81 going to burn it down here on the front stretch. Absolutely well deserved. Saved the best for last, and he is your winner here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. We'll give a moment here and get the top 3 in here for their well-deserved interviews. But David, thank you for joining me in the booth here tonight, and it took a while, but these guys put on one hell of a show for you at the end.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, and thanks for the invite, and I'm glad to see some good racing. And this track's a little different, it produces some interesting racing, and no different tonight. And a great 27 car field, and fun to see these guys out here.
We've got our top 3 here ready to go in the booth, and man, I mean, just can't say enough about these guys putting on one heck of a show. But we'll go ahead and start it off with our third place finisher here tonight, and that is going to be Maxwell Caldwell in the 95. And Maxwell, you seem to have a different strategy than the other guys out there on that last pit stop. It netted you up there into second place for a little bit before you fell back to third. But you had a fight there a little bit for that third place at the end.
Yeah, I did. That was a heck of a battle. I can't believe I held on with 2 tires. I think I was the only one to try that, but I had to. I mean, we had that incident with Andrew earlier coming off pit road, he went to go into turn 1 and come off 2, and he just lost it. And I thought he was going to spin all the way down, and he just stays in the high lane. And when I went to dodge him, it broke the car. It broke the right front toe link. So I had to immediately pit within 2 laps, a second time to take a fast repair. So that kind of screwed us. So when we did get the cautions and stuff to restack everything, we were just in the back. So I knew if I just kept taking fuel under those yellows that we could try a 2-tire strat just to get the track position, but I was too far behind Andrew and Justin to make it work for the win, but it seemed to work for third. So
yeah, we seen you had to take the evasive maneuver and seen you get into the wall. Didn't think it did that much damage, and didn't notice that you came back into the pits right after that. So I mean, with all that being considered, I mean, I'm sure you would have loved to be up there and battling for the win, but it seemed like that 07 really had it kind of locked down here tonight. I mean, you grabbed the pole out here, but Lewis grabbed the lead from you right away, and it seemed like it was going to be everybody trying to chase him here tonight. But I mean, all in all, you come home with a third. I mean, it's got to feel good with everything that you went through here tonight.
With everything we went through, it was good. Right there at the beginning, we're all teammates, and I've raced with Justin in a couple other leagues. He's really good here, but he's also he's very aggressive to the point that he'll burn a right front really quick. And I didn't want to push as hard as he did there at the beginning. And this is a track position game. I should have known better. But I let him by. And it's just once I was riding behind him, I think I just burnt more tire than he did because he had the fresh air. Because if you notice that first run, we could match lap time, lap after lap after lap after lap. Like he would gain a 10th, I'd gain it back. He'd gain a 10th, I'd gain it back. So, I mean, and I was still kind of in 90% mode at that time. We had a fast car. We showed that setting it on the pole. It's just things didn't go our way. And sometimes it happens, but Lord, to go from breaking a toe link, having to come down pit road under green, going a lap down to the fiasco of cautions weren't even turned on. We had to manually do it, and the wave around and Lucky Dog got screwed up, so I lost 2 or 3 more spots with that. And to recover to finish third on a 2-tire strat where the car was the worst it was right there at the end, barely hanging on. We'll take third out of that. But we had the speed, so.
Yeah, I mean, you say things didn't go your way, but it kind of did at the end, at least. You know,
we took a gamble.
Through about 90% of this race, it didn't go your way, but it fell the right way at the end, and at least get up here for third place in the top 3 on the podium here tonight. And I mean, talk about the track itself. I mean, this is a track where you're racing the track as much, if not more, than the other competitors out there. It's always tough when you're coming to these tracks and you have to do shifting every single corner.
Look, Gateway can be fun to drive, but as far as racing on it, I hate it. It's one groove. If you try to go low in one, you'll get under somebody, but then you'll have too much wheel in it. It'll randomly decamber, and it'll just get loose and start to wreck toward the inside. You can't. I mean, you saw those guys on fresher tires try to pass me when I was on 2, and they both got loose and about died. Yep. I was at a disadvantage and still was at an advantage running the one groove that you could run around here. So I don't think Gateway puts on the best what you call racing. Like, you can get some green flag runs and all that jazz, but as far as side-by-side action, you're not really going to get it here. But it was challenging. Me and Justin run this in another league a lot at this track. I mean, you can see us running up here 2 and 3. But we both stated that it felt really different tonight. Like, there was something like the gearing was off. Like, we couldn't shift the way we normally do here. It was a lot looser than we remembered it being. But then once we got to the race, it flipped the switch and got tighter than I remember it being. So I got used to a loose car in practice just for it to tighten up. So it was weird. I'm not going to say it was bad tonight. I mean, I had fun until I broke a toe link, which was unfortunate. But it was a challenge. More green flag running than I thought, but I figured out with the cautions turned off for the session. That's kind of how that happened. Yeah. So weird race all around. Not normal. It'll be normal next week. And hey, next week we get to go to a road course and try to make left and right turns. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, you go from what's considered a road course oval to an actual road course next week. But I mean, this was certainly probably a good preparation. Heading into to a road course, driving on this one first. But like I said, I mean, with everything that went on here tonight, cautions, no cautions, I have the issue of avoiding a wreck yourself and still getting involved in it. I mean, coming home with third place, great finish overall. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to before we let you go?
Man, first and foremost, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Tonight wasn't the best race, but hey, I'm still blessed. I'm still able to be around some great people. Ever since we've been invited to this league, it's just been probably the most welcoming league I remember being a part of here on iRacing. So really good group of guys, solid car counts, lots of fun. There's guys you race hard in here and have like small little like racing rivalries with, on track. But as far as how people talk to you and treat you, like super great group. So thankful for Jesus Christ for even allowing me to meet these great people and meet you guys in the booth and just have a fun time. It's truly a blessing. But also got to thank Merkle Racing Engines for being on the car, longtime sponsor. Love to represent Todd here. I don't think he had the best of nights here tonight. Actually, he got in the top 10. He got ninth.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty good for Todd. Todd's the reason I'm even over here in this league. He told me about it and pumped it up. And, man, he's getting some car count brought in here. So thanks to Todd, Merkle Racing Engines there, for being on the hood. And my teammates, Todd, Andrew, Justin. I mean, we had a 1-2-3 finish for the team. So that's pretty cool. We had a 1-2 last week and 1-2-3. I've been in second. I've been in third. I want to be in first. That's
there you go. You got to complete the cycle.
Yes, absolutely. But also got to thank the league for even letting us come, and thankful for you guys in the booth, man. I go back and watch some of these. Y'all do a fantastic, professional, grade broadcast, and it's very much enjoyable to go back and watch.
I appreciate it, buddy. This one may be a little dull for about 90%, but you guys put on one hell of a show at the end of the race for sure. So once again, congrats on the third. Go celebrate with the team. We'll see you next week.
10-4. Thank you, guys.
That is your third place finisher here tonight, the 95 of Maxwell Caldwell. Second place here tonight, David, why don't you go ahead and take the 07 of Justin Lewis?
Justin, this is David and Carl in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can definitely hear the disappointment in your voice there, but great run tonight for second place. I have to say I had you as my pick. Coming to about 30
so
to
what
go.
you're saying is it's your fault. That's what it is. That's all I need to hear.
Yeah, you can definitely put that one on me because I definitely said I thought you had that one on lockdown. Andrew with the late charge was able to get it done. Talk a little bit about what happened there in the last 30 laps that let him get that pass for the win.
I think I wouldn't say I pitted too soon because, you see, I had to do some work, but I almost think if I would have pitted when the guys that originally pitted, I could have stayed ahead of those guys. In other words, not race back by them. I would have saved enough tire to hold them off. I think, I don't know why, but it felt like everybody raced me extremely hard tonight. Like, if I got around them in lap traffic, I didn't get clean through lap cars like I normally do. I feel like that's part of my problem is I couldn't get through traffic like normal. Lead lap cars are fine, but it's like I caught lap cars in my car, or me who just had a moment. Like I caught every lap car I think wrong toward the end there, so that kind of hurt. Nothing against whoever it was, of course, but it's just bad timing. If you catch them, if you're running the bottom in 3 and 4 here and you catch them and they're running the bottom in 3 and 4, you have to literally basically cut a half second off your lap time to go around them or try to wait till they move up and you go down on the front stretch. And I don't know. I came on. I tried to trick him because since Andrew, Max, and Todd and I are all in our same Discord chat, I just stayed quiet and I was like, okay, time to go. Trying to dive in pit road without Andrew following me because I felt like between the three of us, meaning Max, Andrew, and me, he was real close to my pace. So I know early in the race they had an issue actually that they both tried to kill each other, I think, off pit road on new tires. So that kind of made me have an out to lunch, just hand out the window, cruise down the interstate type deal for me for a while. But I don't know. I think what got me the most was definitely just I screwed traffic up, and Andrew, it seemed like it took me too long to get through it. And when I got past them, Andrew basically blew by them with one lap or one corner. So that kind of let him get through it, save some tire, and ultimately just run me down because it felt like once I fought to get by those guys, the right rear was hot. So I couldn't hook up off 4 like I used to. I was actually telling Andrew before I got pulled up here that man, turn 4 is my best corner all night, and that last run I just couldn't get off the corner anymore. But I could maintain off of 2, so that didn't make sense to me. But yeah, he did a good job. He runs he's usually in my NIS sessions, so this isn't the first time we've duked it out and had battles. We've had a couple now since we kind of got close to iRating, but yeah, good win to him. Congrats to Andrew. It was fair. I tried to hold him off, and I tried to rally back there at the end, tried to like cool it down. That's why you see me back off and try to run back down to him, but there's just nothing I could do. I mean, once I got him hot, it's like I couldn't get him cooled back down, and that was pretty much all she wrote.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we were seeing from the booth as well. And regardless, I mean, 130 laps of absolutely perfect racing, and maybe just a little bit of unluckiness with the lap traffic there at the end. And all night we did see, or I did notice, even if the broadcast wasn't on it, some of the lap traffic was a little difficult with this track. Being able to get by, it's a little bit more one line than some other tracks, but overall, definitely a good ride out there for you tonight. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank on that 07 car?
Yeah, you'll shout out to you guys for I've only been here for, this is my third race, I believe. But you guys do a good job in the booth. It's good to go back and try to watch some of these. Just got to see where I went wrong, because, obviously being in the car, you can't see it right away. I kind of have it above me. I broadcast it on YouTube to kind of see what I can see with my TV above my sim. So if I get a chance to look, it's always helpful to kind of see what's going on, even though it's a little delayed from real time. But you guys, of course, Andrew, Max, Todd, gotta thank Todd for giving us all the ins and outs to come over here, basically saying like, hey, this league's fun, you should try it out. And that tire strategy has been a fun thing to learn. I feel like my speed comes better at the short tracks like this, which I guess you can call this a short track, but yeah, I want to be one spot better. That's 2 seconds and an eighth, I think, so far. And we probably should have won Michigan and just missed it a little bit. And we probably should have won here, and I just missed it a little bit too. And Charlotte, we were on the pole and kind of wrecked myself out with no fast repairs and had 4.5 minutes of damage and still finished eighth. That was pretty cool. But these guys seem pretty fun. Gladly going to come back and hopefully finally get a W next week, which if it's Watkins Glen, I'm probably going to be in the sand trap somewhere. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Well, I have to wish you good luck next week on the road course and with the rest of your season here. And happy to see that you've enjoyed your time here so far. And we will let you get on down the road and celebrate that second place with the 1, 2, 3 on the team. So we'll catch you later.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
That's your second place finish here tonight, the 07 of Justin Lewis. First place here tonight is once again going to be the 81, back-to-back victories here. And Andrew, welcome back to the top step of the podium. I mean, talk us through your race. It seemed like you had a fast car all night tonight. You hung up there in the top 5 for majority of the race, just kind of pacing behind your teammate for quite a while. But then you guys make that last pit stop. You come in 1 lap later than Justin. But, I mean, was it all catching that lap traffic at the right time, or did you find a little bit on that last run to catch up to him and pass him?
Just like last week. Also, by the way, I didn't expect to see you guys again, but just like last week, I really can't tell you. I was definitely a lot more confident this week in the track and the car, but it was at the start of the race, I was definitely a third place car. I think once the sun started to go down, we had that first pit stop. It was like a light switch. I think the track got a little tighter, which helped me drive off the center of the corner a little better. And I got lucky with the way the cautions fell, and Justin really took me by surprise at the end there, pitting a lap earlier. It just kind of all worked out. And for once, I actually had the speed to kind of counter that stuff. So it just all kind of... you want to know what's funny is I never drove this track before last night. So
Perfect.
Yeah,
it works out nice like that. And sometimes those scary tracks, those are the ones you don't really necessarily want to touch, and then all of a sudden they click. But I mean, you get the lead out here tonight, and Justin hung with you for quite a few laps there before all of a sudden he started falling back. He was back there to about 0.6 of a second, and it seemed like you were going to stretch your legs and just cruise on to the victory. All of a sudden, he starts putting on a charge there at the end. Were you keeping an eye on the mirror, keeping an eye on the telemetry coming those last couple laps?
Oh yeah, I was trying not to because I have a bad tendency of watching that stuff, and I always start messing up then. But yeah, he was coming quick. I started to catch the traffic, and he was praying I would, and I kind of just got lucky that we ran out of laps. I think if that was a couple laps longer, he would have definitely got closer. So I'm pretty happy it ended at 150 instead of overtime or something like that.
Well, you only got 35 laps to worry about next week, but the problem is you're turning left and right next week at Watkins Glen. What are your chances? How do you feel about road course racing? Do we see this 81 up here in the booth again and maybe make it a three-peat?
I'm going to try. I love Watkins Glen. I haven't driven a stock car in a race around there in a while, but that seems to be working for me lately, so we'll just send it next week. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, actually. I love that track. I love road racing. I'm not the greatest at it, but and it actually kind of works out in my favor. Me and my buddies, we're getting ready to do the 6 hours of Watkins Glen the week after, so I'll have some time on that track, albeit in a different car, but hopefully I can pull the three-peat on you guys.
I mean, it would make perfect sense, because Charlotte is nothing like Worldwide Technology, and Watkins Glen is nothing like those other two. So, yeah, I mean, it just might as well just go ahead and make it that three-peat. And you did it on pit strategy last week. You did it on just raw speed here tonight. And go ahead and make sure you let the teammates know here tonight that you're the top dog here once again. So, congrats once again on the win here tonight. Who do you go to shout out to or thanks to?
Shout out to my teammates, Justin Lewis, Taylor Caldwell, Maxwell Caldwell, as I guess he's known formally. I'm glad Taylor or Max recovered to a top 3 there after my little spin and incident with him. And I'm really big shout out to Justin as well for racing me clean there and all that. That was a really good time. So shout out to them guys. I got a couple buddies watching, so shout out to them. And lastly to you guys, because you guys kill it every week. So hopefully I'm talking to you next week about how good you guys are.
I appreciate it. You're doing pretty good yourself out there with back-to-back wins for sure. So congrats again on the victory. Go celebrate with the teammates, and we'll see you next week at the Glen.
All right, man. Have a good week. Thanks.
That's your winner here tonight. Again, the 81 of Andrew Pileshi. Again, I mean, I can't say enough about these guys here at VVR. And I know the caution may have been turned off, and it may have been some craziness, some incidents here tonight. But all in all, one heck of a performance. And man, I mean, if we can just have that energy from the last 15, 20 laps for the whole, well, I guess it's probably good that we don't, because I may not have a voice for the last 20 laps if we did. I mean, it was absolutely epic there at the end of the race, David.
Yeah, that was an epic finish to that race between the shootout for third and obviously the pass for the win within the last 10, 15 laps that Pileshi was able to hold on. I mean, it was fun to watch. Thanks for inviting me out here tonight. And something I just noticed with this league is, with all the potential issues, cautions here and there. What I didn't hear was a lot of upset folks over the radio, and these guys are obviously having fun and competing, and that's exactly what you want to see. So just shout out to this league for doing that right, and hope that they continue to enjoy themselves and have these car counts.
Once again, this was race number 13 on the season. Plenty of racing still yet to come here for Virtual Velocity Racing as the Cup Series heads to Watkins Glen next week. A little road course racing, just 35 laps, but that thing will feel like about 35 hours for some of those drivers. And then we got the off week on June 13th before we head to New Hampshire, and then Nashville to finish out June and kind of complete the first half, well, a little bit more than the first half of the season. We're already past the halfway point, but it's been pretty fantastic so far. Andrew Pileshi goes back-to-back here from Charlotte and Worldwide Technology. We'll see if he can go 3 in a row next week. Thank you for everyone tuning in here tonight. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And thank you to the sponsors here in this series, Goldline Guardians, Fort Worth Screen Printing, and Hilton Crafts and Designs. Thank you to Tim Lee for putting on this fantastic league and letting us showcase all of their great drivers. But for myself and David here at WWT, we'll see you at the track.